Well, we are live. That went fast. So much for the countdown. You
Oh
know what,
yeah,
Steve? Yeah, I guess so. I guess it just popped right up. So I don't know. Maybe it's me clicking the button. Well, welcome everybody to East to West Cast. This is episode number 2, baby. We have made it to 2. So there's no turning back now. We might as well just do 2000 at this point, right, Steve?
there you go.
Top of the morning to you, Steve. And do I say it right? Is it Bacola? Is that the right way to say it? Bacola,
But
Philippines?
it's got a D at the end. Bacolod.
Bacolod.
Yeah, if you were to
Bacolod.
see it in English, you would probably pronounce it Bacolod, but they say it Bacolod.
Bacolod. Okay.
Philippines.
Bacolod. And do you say the Philippines or just Philippines?
I'm in the Philippines. Yeah.
Well, see, I'm going to take that with a grain of salt because you're the guy that's California dude who's like, hey, I took the 1 to the 2 and then I turned it to 405 and
yeah,
I
Texas.
never got used
Thinks
to
that's
that.
weird.
I never got used to that when you were here in the States, when you were stateside, buddy. Never quite got used to that. I'm Charles C. Gaines. This is Steve Norris. We are East to West Creations, and we are excited to be here with you. And hopefully we'll start gathering folks that come join us live, and we can get some live questions. And so if it's your first time, welcome. And we hope that you will get something out of this and enjoy it. And I'll put the little scroll here on the bottom for those of you that are new and want to subscribe. I'm not exactly sure what I have going in the background here. I think I'm okay. It may be a air raid or something. I don't know. Just pay no attention. Can you hear anything in the background, Steve, or is it pretty good? Okay, I think it stopped.
Okay.
I'm actually hearing things. Today's been an interesting day today. Today was inauguration day in the States, and we survived. That's a good thing. Used to never be, a scary kind of time, but these are unprecedented times we're in. But we did survive, and that was a good thing. So we got a long way to go, and it's just a crazy time. It's been interesting for me talking to you, getting your perspective there in the Philippines on the craziness that's been going on over here in the States. So without getting too far into crazy theories, I just curious to know your perspective of what you've been watching.
It's been fascinating. Some of the social media that's less censored than others, depending on even if you want to catch different sides. That there was a whole lot of troops in the Capitol for an inauguration. That's new. So the theories on both sides as to why that was happening, I think it just underscores the fact that we're going through a major change as a society. And from our perspective, that's going to be creating a lot of opportunity. We still have COVID-19, no matter what your views are on that. Governments are doubling down on efforts to try to eradicate it. And whether it matches up with what we think the science reveals or not, it's there's a huge shift of people working at home, looking at side hustles, looking to run their own business to kind of go, you know what? Now that I'm home, I like it. I'd like to have my own freedom back. Now that I'm out of the corporate rat race, now that I'm out of this situation, is there a better way to do this? Is there a way to build a better mousetrap? And I think that's something we've always dealt with is there's got to be a better way. And here catching some of the social media, I've been fascinated at how much information people share online. And I would take notes for probably 8 months before we matched up, kind of going, you realize how many ways there is to make money online right now? And I think we're going to be touching on one today. But part of the thing that we talked about when we run a business is to kind of go, you want to be diversified. You don't want to be just doing one thing. Because if you're just the stock guy and the stocks crash, you're not great at shorting stocks, you're going to just lose your shorts. So a lot of the guys that will do investing for people, they diversify their investments portfolio on different things. And for us, we looked at a few different things, e-commerce, affiliate marketing, YouTube channels, people making money on these things, having a membership site, a recurring revenue, whether it's you're teaching, you're sharing information, training, whatever it might be, and then also individual services that you outsource like we've been doing, whether it's one time for customers or recurring revenue. So I think that leads into some of what we're going to talk about today and why it was such a ridiculous deal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, again, been such an exciting time and again, kind of fun talking to you, having been over here in the States with you for so many years, and then you go into the Philippines and reporting back and going, is everything okay over there? I'm like, I think so. I'm pretty
Is,
sure it's okay.
is life a lie? Did we really land on the moon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the little kid on the Funny Juice? Is this real life? Is this real life? I think we've all been feeling that way a lot. But having said that, one of the things that we feel really just called to do, if you will, something that's really passionate to us, and that is helping other entrepreneurs, other businesses leverage the tools that are out there. And they have, without a shadow of doubt, exploded in the last 2 or 3 years even. Last episode, we kind of gave our story. So if those of you are interested at all and kind of our background, in general, I'm the pictures guy, and in general, Steve's the numbers guy. But it's way deeper than that. We both are marketers by heart and by at our core and by trade. And so we look at everything in terms of how's it going to get presented to the audience? How's it going to fit into the lifestyle? How's it going to create a business and scale? And so those are the things that really get us juiced. So obviously we're living in times that have never made it any easier to get started quickly. And Steve, you mentioned something a minute ago. People that are watching this could be in a lot of different positions. They could have lost their job through the COVID situation. They could still be working at home. They may have been at a company that downsized. They may never go back to the office. There are certain businesses that if they haven't totally retooled, the MO now moving forward is to work from home. So you've seen a ton of people scramble and set up, makeshift studios at their home and learn about green screen. And, we've had all sorts of fun, fails on Zoom. But really what we're talking about is getting into business operations. Steve will share, through the course of this series and as we continue to work together to kind of help mentor people and answer questions. Steve's real passionate about efficiencies of scale and flows. He built a successful business called Dr. Workflow. And you can go to drworkflow.com and check out some of his fine work there if you'd like. But a lot of that has to do with all of the apps and all of the different tools that are out there. How do you come up with a criteria to judge what you need? How do you figure out how to make this talk to that? And it seems to me, Steve, that you've got a lot of apps and businesses that have decided to go very vertical. And then you've had others that have decided to kind of go very linear and create a huge set of a set of apps that work together in an ecosystem. I'm sure we'll probably do some discussion about Zoho, which is something that I know you've worked very closely. I think you're an authorized Zoho tech, I guess, if you will. But it's different ways of doing things, whether it's the Google way where you've got 100,000 apps and they all are supposed to talk to each other, but you can get lost in that world. Or you've got somebody that says, no, we're just constant contact and we're just about email marketing. The problem is for a small business person, and really, quite frankly, any size business, because we talked a little bit last week about businesses, whether they're massive or whether they're a two-man operation, have the same exact challenges. And so we live in this world where how do we decide which apps to pick? We pick a horse, we put a lot of time and effort and energy learning that, and then another one comes along the next day and says it can do 10 things better than that for 10 times cheaper. And so as a small business person, we've experienced that frustration that you get when you feel like you picked the wrong horse or it doesn't do what you need it to and you don't have any help. Then all of a sudden you're finding yourself late at night trying to watch YouTube videos, trying to learn how to code. So, with that in mind, Steve, I know you did a great deal of research when the pandemic started because you were looking for other ways to expand some of your businesses, and you came across several in addition to the things you'd been doing with Zoho. What were some of the things that you were looking for that you felt like you needed, or was it a situation where you stumbled on just to so many different companies that just seemed like they were sprouting up overnight?
The journey started really from the perspective of I've got an existing customer that we've got in the Zoho One platform that is just an amazing suite of products and what it can do and what it can't do. And so what it led me to do, since I have a background in SEO and building some websites, things of that nature, of kind of going, you and I both spent tens of thousands of dollars of web hosting over our careers. And you start looking at how the platform has changed. It was HTML, now it's big into WordPress. Now it's moving on to other versions already. You've got drag and drop builders that are fantastic, that can make a relative novice actually crank out some really respectable work that looks fantastic. That you would have paid thousands or tens of thousands of dollars to do in a previous lifetime, right? So as you start looking at that, you kind of going, okay, I want to get the message out, but now that you're finding something like 90% of new content is video related, and how many hours of video is being uploaded every hour on YouTube? It's so absurd. So now we have this diminishing attention span when we get into the advertising side of things for our clients, of kind of going, if you don't grab that attention really quick, you've lost them. So now that leads into, how do I juice up my videos? Obviously here, I haven't put up my green screen yet. We're doing the basic stuff for me here. But I started looking up video production sites, and I found a few things, and then suddenly started finding on your feed on Facebook, because they've been creeping on you, right? But I found Toonly, Doodly, Create Studio. I was looking at some of the other ones that I had videos and in video for intros and outros and things like that. Interactor, which the Interactor video, choose your own ending stuff. And once you get into it, you and I are both, those are like toys for people in our industry. You're like, I have Toonly, and it's great for this, but it doesn't do that.
So,
and it's so
just to recap, Toonly, TOONLY,
correct,
.com, and it's cartoons, right? Basically, you're seeing some of these people.
Basically, it's for animated explainer videos. So people they'll grab their attention and watch it. Doodly is the writing on the board. If you see those, you kind of go, So their program allows you to combine them.
Yeah, for like an explainer video. Which, by the way, from a marketing standpoint and the analytics of it, at least initially when it came out, the analytics were saying those type of explainer videos where you've got the handwriting, 8 times better response, because your brain just wants to follow along, and it just makes that connection between the visual and the audio, and it's amazing.
Well, then you're fascinated by, but do I want to use my own voice? Do I have that voice for radio? Maybe not. Most of us don't think that way, right? So now you start looking at, should I get? I'm looking through. I paid for Speech Hello, and I got Talkia, which is the speech to text using Amazon and Google's engines of all these different voices with accents. And then, do you do that, or do you? The problem is we're so used to getting what we want quickly.
Right.
Am I going to go on Fiverr or outsource.com or whatever and just go, hey, I'm going to push out something to a professional, and I'm going to wait for the 48, 72 hours to get it back, give them feedback, go back and forth? Or am I just going to type it into this and boom, I have what I need? Right. And so you start going down this road of kind of going, oh, wow, I've got all this, but now what platform am I going to be on? Am I going to focus on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram? Is it Pinterest? Is it there's TikTok, there's so many, Snapchat, and you're kind of going, there are people that are successful on any one of those platforms and multiple. Well, now there's platforms that you can post once and post it in a ton of places.
Right.
And we've done the same thing with video, where you can upload it in one spot and have it go to multiple places at the same time. I think we're doing that right now. And so it really opens up your mind of kind of going, okay, so if I do want to get this diversified business model where I have a lot of knowledge I'd like to be able to share on a regular basis. Is that worthy of a membership site? Great. I have a niche that I'm really good in. I'm going to do that. That's fantastic. I need a software for that. Mm-hmm. Who's the best software that does membership sites? Am I going to do MemberPress on WordPress, or am I going to look at one of these other platforms? Well, once you start researching the other platforms, then you realize that the whole world is shifting to affiliate marketing. Everybody who sells a product pays to sell their product to some degree. They're paying a commission. It's either in the form of, I'm paying for advertising, or I'm paying for someone to get the word out in order for that to come in. And increasingly, those dollars are shifting from traditional advertising mediums over to influencers and affiliate marketing. And the great thing about affiliate marketing is it's a 1-to-1 ratio of sale and commission. I don't know about you, but I've spent thousands of dollars on stuff before for advertising that would just end up being flushed down the toilet. It was absolutely worthless. I got no return on it whatsoever. And that's very discouraging. But when you launch an affiliate marketing program, you've got an army of people that you're enlisting to say, hey, help me get the word out. Put the link in your bio. If they click it and they make a purchase, you get a commission. It's a 1-to-1 ratio, which is fantastic. So now you're looking at what's the best platform for that. But, I've got my video hosting over here. I've got my website hosting over here. Now I'm hearing I should use a ClickFunnels, basically a one-page website designed to convert for a specific product, not just a regular store. But yet I also need an e-commerce store because I really have 100 things I want to market. But if you're going to do advertising, you want to focus on one thing at a time to go, boom, this is the guy I'm after. So as you start looking at all these things, you get lost in this maze of software of all these things that are out there. From the social media, the marketing, the video creation, the voiceover, the platform of how to track it, it gets overwhelming. And so I ran across something which we're leading into that I was like, So one of the things I am very wary about, and I will tell people up front with any software, if it's a one-time purchase, buyer beware. And I feel that way because if they have your money today and the sizzle falls off of that product, there is no more development. There's no more support because it's not financially possible down the road. That's just economics. Mm-hmm. So when I looked at something like Toonly, I did get in when it had a one-time price. This is your lifetime price. I think I had an upgrade and they're like, this is it. And I've been really happy. And they've continued to develop the service, which is great. There's other services I've done that for where you go, oh, it's a one-time lifetime price. They get you on that upsell and you just kind of go, it's never changed from that day. And then as the technology moves on to the next level, those guys are left behind. You're like, well, I paid for it, but I never use it. And so I ran across a software that you're going to be bringing up here in a moment that it was at a stage of having they took a very interesting approach to the market. They said, we want to build this all-in-one platform for guys who are doing online marketing. We know all the tools you need. We have built them for other companies. We're going to build them all now into a single suite. And for the early adopters, because we're still in beta, and we know we don't have everything down pat, and it's not all released yet, we're going to give you a one-time price. And I saw that, ran that by you, and that we did some serious research. Lost several hours of video on YouTube to kind of go, okay, what's the real do? Guys that are in our business who did reviews to go, listen, it may not be ready yet for me for prime time. And it's painful to move everything off of another platform if it's not going to work right 100%. So I'm going to keep both platforms for now. But the value in this proposition is so absurd that I can't pass it up. And the potential for loss is so small that you just kind of go, if any one of the softwares on this platform works out, it pays for itself.
Absolutely. And one of the things that's really neat about what you said, let me recap just a little bit before we dive into Groove. And that is, Steve's already put out there a couple of really good nuggets. And I would say this is kind of what you're going to be getting from East to West that you might not get other places, just so that we have something different to give to entrepreneurs and to businesses. And that is, I wouldn't call it a full review. But I also wouldn't call it a full demonstration. I think we're going to bring to the table tools that we have vetted, that we use ourselves, that we believe in, and be able to, rather than just giving you, just exactly the company line on every single thing that it promises to do, we're going to look at it objectively as a business and how are you going to incorporate it? Where are the bumps in the road? Where are the warts? But really point you in the direction of the things that are really going to move the needle. And I think Steve said something that was really, really important. I'd definitely write that down. And that's when you're looking at any kind of software as a service or any kind of platform like that, can you get a grasp of, are they in this for the long haul? Because any software is going to need ongoing development and fix. Can you get a hold of somebody? Can you get your questions answered? Is there a community that you can get involved in to get your questions answered when their help desk is busy? So all those factors come into play. And so I think it is really important to look at a platform and say, are they just in it to get in and get out and flip it and have somebody bigger buy it. And we have been on the other end of that too many times to mention for our comfort. So it's definitely something that you're going to want to be aware of when you get into that. So,
that kind of skipped ahead of something. We're from the generation initially where you had to buy the CD to buy the program. That was the only way you got it. Well, now everything is software as a service. So, to be able to combine that model to go, let me get this straight. I can pay one time for a software as a service that the only way they survive and can justify their price is recurring membership. That's what they need to build. They need to build up that recurring revenue. So when you see something that's the combination of the one-time price, but I'm going to keep getting service and support forever, that has to pique your interest. It just has to. But to your point, Facebook groups are an incredible resource. Typically for all these softwares, there's going to be a group out there, and those guys are merciless, which is fantastic. You as a consumer, you want to be on there to kind of go, you get the real, the story of what's going on. And if a feature isn't working, there's a chance someone's already run across that same problem, and either they have a workaround or a suggestion, but they'll shoot you straight, which is fantastic. But you get a real good idea real quick if you look at online reviews and feedback from other users, whether this is a good platform or not.
I would definitely say if you've got somebody that has a website that has very, very little on it, there isn't much commitment to interactivity with the community. I think those are red flags you need to look at. If you've got 2 or 3, it may be incredible technology, but it just may not be able to stand the test of time and really be able to perform when you need it to. Because let's face it, you're putting your reputation on the line. You're putting your customers and your clientele, and you can recover from some bad software, but not being able to perform if you're down, if you can't get a glitch fixed. It just depends on the situation, but it can be very, very scary. And so, if you see them cranking out a ton of videos for how to, if you see them very active on Facebook, I'm not talking from a sales standpoint. I'm talking about from a support standpoint. I'm talking about from a community building. Yeah, those are great. Those are great signs, and that does lead into what we want to talk about tonight, and that is Groove. Now, Groove hit the scene as Groove Funnels, and you may be able to speak a little more to that than I. If you've been around online sales of any kind in the last probably 3 to 5 years, you've heard the term a funnel. Steve mentioned it just a moment ago. And of course, there have been sales funnels, forever, not just online. But the concept is to, much like the shape of a funnel, to lead a customer down a path and continue to kind of put guardrails up to take them down a path of satisfaction, not only for you as a producer, but them as a consumer that says, okay, and there's several ways to do it. There are several formulas. A lot of people will claim to have the ultimate funnel. I particularly think that there are funnels that match different sales approaches and different demographics, and they work better that way. And so you want to get into a system that has multiple templates and multiple funnels. But in essence, and Steve, again, you can expand on this, but we went into this kind of thinking Groove, made their name as a spin-off to ClickFunnels. And I know you spent some time at ClickFunnels first before you found Groove, and we can certainly talk about that. And the guys over there are doing some great stuff. But what makes Groove so amazing is, in my opinion, is 2 things: building an entire ecosystem. And I feel like 9 times out of 10, having a product that has an ecosystem and that is committed to building that over the long haul has huge benefits. And we'll talk a little bit about some of those. And number 2, they weren't in the business. They're not in the business of selling websites and selling e-commerce platforms. They're in the business of growing that community that will then end up needing more services. It's kind of that glorified freemium model that says, okay, we're going to give you this free, and there's no way in a million years you could get all this stuff on your own by cobbling it together, and we know it. So we're going to get tons of volume. And so they've grown exponentially large in the last 2 years. But they've got a pretty ambitious roadmap. So you might speak just a little bit about how it came from ClickFunnels and how successful that was, and then kind of taking that and growing that from maybe what a funnel is and what a funnel does.
So when you start researching the online marketing and you have a store or a product that you want to sell, what you find out very quickly is there's a lot of programs out there that are doing funnels, and that's, as Charles said. And so the point of the funnel is to really streamline the purchase process. If I go into a store, any store, I'm going to be distracted by all the products around me, and I've got to find what I'm looking for. Well, everyone loves the Amazon or the eBay approach, where I can click on what I want, go straight to it, pick the color, pick the size, boom, I'm out. So if you start advertising a specific product that's targeted to audience on Facebook, Google, whatever it might be, part of what you have the ability to do is to show them exactly what they're interested in and let them make a purchase very quickly without distraction. It's been a very, very successful platform because it's so finely tuned to the consumer and exactly what they want to experience as that purchasing process. Then it builds in automations with some email follow-ups. Did they abandon the cart? No problem. I'll follow up with you automatically in hours, days, weeks, whatever it is. We do pre-programming. I get your information. I put you on a list. Now that I know what you like, I can remarket to you with some other things that are very similar. And so when I start researching those programs and some of what they offer, one of those that we looked at was ClickFunnels. So ClickFunnels basically has two programs. One of them is around $100 a month. I like round numbers. It's around $100 a month. The other one's around $300. Well, when you get into these software programs, you usually find that if you have visions of grandeur, the skinnier version typically doesn't have the full feature set of what you're going to want. Usually it's going to be one or more features you want on that premium. So very quickly you could say, I'm going to be spending $300 a month. You kind of go, okay, that's an investment. Let me do some research. Let me do some comparison shopping. Let me check reviews. Let me see what else is out there. And in that process, you find out that there are other people doing the same thing. There's a few platforms that are very, very well known. And I kept seeing one name come up, which was GrooveFunnels. And I thought, okay, let me check. And the first thing that turned me off was that one-time price. And I thought, I just didn't have the warm and fuzzies about that. But after being ready to pay for another program that was called Pay Kickstart, and the reason I actually found that program was I found that multiple of the vendors that we use for video editing, Toonly, Doodly, and Create Studio, they all are on the Pay Kickstart platform as for their affiliate marketing program. So if I wanted to share the word about those programs and get a commission for spreading the word about them as an affiliate, it goes through Pay Kickstart. So Pay Kickstart has their version of funnels, and they've got a membership site, and you just kind of go, okay, and it's a similar price. But they have some things that they do different than ClickFunnels, and so there's some people that use both, and you kind of just kind of going, So what was fantastic about ClickFunnels, and maybe you want to start putting up some stuff, and I'd be happy to run through some of the stuff.
You mean that Groove or Click?
On Groove.
Okay.
You've got some slides ready for that, right?
and what I'd like to do, maybe, Steve, if you're okay with this, is kind of bookend things. Let's share what their offer is and what's included in the offer. Okay. Then I can pull up our admin, and I can kind of go just a little dog and pony, not a full-blown tutorial, but I'll hit some of the highlights. And then if you want to, we can come back and kind of bookend it and say, okay, well, what's great about this list of stuff? And what does that mean to the average business, and give them the ability to go get that signed up. So I'm going to pull that up and let you walk through what's included in their offer as they have it now, because they have a free offer, which is mind-boggling, because I spent years selling custom websites and e-commerce sites, at the time $12,000 and up. Obviously the world's changed since then, but it's just mind-boggling the quality of the content that you can get now for free. Right. So the key is to leverage, create, if you're starting a new business, you want to do an MVP, a minimum viable product. So there are so many resources that we want to be able to share with you that you can get started with zero money down. Just get out there, start building something, and see if you've got a niche. There's really no excuse not to try. You don't have to wait around to get, win the lottery or get a loan necessarily. There's a lot of things you can do immediately without having to spend a dime. So anyway, this is one we want to recommend to you guys.
So with GrooveFunnels, part of what they have is this package of 20 apps. And to Charles' point, they were rolling out the free version that had, it's like with anything that's free, they kind of go, well, there's limits, right? Because you can't use all of our resources to have all the widgets and tools, but you're going to have enough to go ahead and set up your own website, set up your own funnel, and get into some other things. You're kind of going, this is going to help you make money. And as soon as you're making money, you're going to want those other features. And so that just makes a lot of sense. So what I found with the GrooveFunnels was they did have a one-time price. Charles, is that's still the same case right now, because they're moving to a monthly model shortly?
I was going to say, yes, they, I need to double check. That's why you'd want to move pretty quickly, because I believe they still have the freemium that gets you in. And then they will be moving to a $99 a month, but I believe they have a $4.99. Is that correct? Where you can have a lifetime for right about $500. There's several that they can get in on. I would recommend that they go in and just go ahead and sign up for the free, because you get three. My understanding is you get 3 websites and you get full functionality. It's one of those situations where, as you want to grow and get into some of the other tools, or have more use of the tools, a deeper use of it, is when you'd want to move up from there. But I can pull up the website if you want me to get their current actual offer, if you want me to.
So when we got the lifetime deal, what you're talking about is they have a payment program. The one-time price that we paid was the $1,400.
Okay.
And I was looking at that kind of going, okay, $1,400, you're not going to sneeze at it. But if you've been in business, you look at that and go, let me put that in perspective. So what do I get with it, and what am I already spending? So if I have basically unlimited website hosting that comes with that, and I know that right now I'm spending, several $100s a month between the different things that I've got going, you kind of go, okay, if I just use them for web hosting or for potential future customer web hosting, that means it's going to pay for itself in 6 months. That's how we typically would look at something. If I look at, am I going to save the 10, 15, 20% by paying the one-time fee for software for the annual fee versus pay monthly? I'll pay annually if it's going to save me enough money, and I know that I'm going to use it for the full year. So the features that you saw that were on there, you have access to not only websites, but you have the opportunity to build your own funnels. So you have a ClickFunnels type of service that we would be spending $300 a month on. So again, I go back to my $1,400, and you go, that's really an absurd deal. It's going to pay for itself in just a matter of months. But then you're talking about all these different things. We were paying for Shopify. We just got another invoice for a couple stores that we've kind of sidelined, and we're moving over to this. That was another almost $60 a month. That was basic with no apps on it, just 2 stores that were at their 29 something a month. And so you kind of go, it's such an absurd value that even though everything wasn't prime time or released yet, the future value that this is going to be was a no-brainer. But it's important to note that this is in beta. They consider it in beta, and they're still developing. They're adding features literally every week, and they do have a timeline they publish. There's just got a fantastic value. And so if you're going to be in this business, you're going to be in the online business, we really highly recommend you get it now, because once the one-time thing is done, and they've done this to basically crowdsource and crowdfund the rest of the development, because this is a massive undertaking. It's very difficult. I would say for Zoho One, the platform that we've talked about previously, Zoho One has like 45, 50 apps, something like that. Every time I'm on their site, I feel like I see something new. And it's so diverse. But if you were to pick one single app, can you say they are the best at this one app in the whole marketplace? I think that that's going to be a bit of a reach for any company. You could do the same thing with Google. You have Google Office, right? Their suite of products. Are they the best at every single one of those, or is it close? And I feel that that's where these guys are headed. Is they're going to have a fantastic product in everything. Is it going to be better than the very best website builder that we use, whether it's Divi or what's the other one that we like, Elementor?
We've been through Elementor. We've been through Wix. We've been through Squarespace. We've been through all the WordPress plugins, and they all have their place.
Right.
And you get pros and cons, and we're happy to kind of go through some of those pros and cons. We're not saying jettison those, but again, it's as Steve said.
But it's going to be close, right? It's
Yeah.
going to be the value is there that you just kind of go. It may not be that, unless you need that 1% feature. For the most part, this is going to do everything that you need it to do.
I will say this: I've been involved in some of the the real deep dive seminars and workshops that they've had. I've heard from the developers, both on the support forums and through some of their company programs, and they're basically looking at every best of category and emulating it. So it's like looking at that list we were looking at before. One of the best ways to do it is, okay, you're familiar with ClickFunnels? Okay, we have Groove Pages. And so we allow you to build web pages with a click of a button and a couple of templates, and just there's a lot of power. And I do want to show that off. Groove Sell is the shopping cart, and there's hundreds of shopping carts out there.
It's like a Shopify type of replacement.
Yeah, well, even then, there is a theirs is called Groove Cart. So they have a Groove Sell and a Groove Cart, and so they're just a little Groove Sell. Okay. It works best when you've got a one thing. Let's say you've got again. Think of it this way. Think of it as walking.
That's the digital products platform.
Digital and or let's say you've got one thing you're selling, a book. Like you said, the digital stuff, or you've got something where it's literally a funnel for one thing. They kind of started with that and then expanded it to Groove Cart, which is a full-blown, it'll stand up against any cart. And that's the Shopify killer for them. It was their Groove Cart. But what this really helps you, it's kind of like the old, hey, so-and-so sounds like Bruce Springsteen. You get a little bit of an idea of what it's like. And so if you're familiar with anything in that category, say Kajabi, which is something you're near and dear to your heart, the ability to, build a membership platform. They rolled out with Groove Pages, Groove Cart, Groove Sell, and that's the bread and butter, because they know that's the 80-20. 80% of what we need done with a traditional shopping cart, with a funnel, with the ability to create an affiliate program. So they're rolling out things like mail, and they're improving their member side of things. I guess that's where I was going a minute ago. I've been involved in some of those meetings, and they've been very clear that, people go, when are you going to have this feature? When are you going to have that feature? And that's just a normal evolution of product building and so forth. The answer to every question is, if you're used to MailChimp, we're going to try to put as many things good that MailChimp does, but it's going to be integrated. Okay, you're a big fan of Shopify. Okay, we want to listen and try to get as many of those features in there. And then the things that you've always been frustrated with, we'll try not to have those things, or we'll try to fix it. So, just going down that list and having, things, a blog, there's a big debate. Are blogs going out? How do you work a blog? How do you have time to do that? When they're integrated, you start to have an interesting synergy, and Steve can speak to that a little bit more, because he's a freak for scalability and connectivity, and not having to have data entry points at 5 different places. So that's where integration can get pretty crazy. But go ahead.
One of the big integration companies that connects platforms is Zapier. Everyone talks about, have I got my zaps between softwares? When you've got a platform like this, or like a Zoho, where it's integrated, it's so much easier to put together and get the software talking. It's such a lifesaver, because everything with digital marketing, these guys are trying to put under a single roof. They're going to basically create their own CRM, their own email, which is essential, because you have to have autoresponders. You need that on automation. You don't want to manually do that. And you have to do it in such a way that you don't get flagged for spam. And there's so many things that go into that. But if you've got your ability to do digital products, physical products, affiliate marketing, so you can mobilize your own army of people. And as you go to the next page, you just kind of go, okay, so we've got the ability to host your own videos. Never has it been more important to control your own videos. We have seen a lot of people, no matter what your takes are, have their content completely removed, their accounts deleted. And that may be, depending on who the flavor of the month is, who's in charge, right? So to protect us from ourselves. But if you're on a platform that's not censoring, that's a really big deal. So some people want to host their own stuff, and if they will handle it for you, that's fantastic.
Hey, Steve, let me comment quickly about their Groove Video. It's still fairly new, but again, very robust. Trying to take some of the best out of Vimeo. Obviously we live. YouTube is part of the fabric of our everyday life. But one of the frustrations is all the other content that goes with it and the connectivity. If you want a real kind of controlled experience, you go Vimeo. So they do have that, and they've got some interesting analytics and interactivity built into their V1 of their Groove Video, in that when you put it on that platform, not only does it offer the free hosting and the free streaming, because it's just part of the package, but you get analytics that tell you, okay, here's how long they watched the video, and here's where they bailed out. And you can also create overlays that, you're running a video and you can have a stop and it comes up with a quiz, or it says yes or no. And it hadn't quite gotten to where your choice sends you to different videos. There are other tools for that, but it's got some pretty sophisticated in V1 to be able to, just to know where are people bailing out, and what of my content is successful and what's got to have work on.
Oh, the metrics are huge, because it really does teach you how to be better at what you're doing. So we just mentioned Zapier. They've got Groove Automations, which is going to be connecting everything together. Groove Proof. If you're on the website, you'll notice on some websites in the lower left-hand corner, you'll say so-and-so just bought from this city and state, or they just renewed, or they just moved their account over. So that's one of those things you just kind of go, hey, I feel better when I know other people are doing the same thing. It's a consumer confidence thing. Oh, you just took it down. Now I'm.
You ready to go back?
Now I'm flying blind. Oh, the blog. Okay, so one of the things that we talked about was, now we have a web host, and there's a benefit from an SEO perspective of having blogs on completely different hosts, different networks from an SEO perspective. They're going to be rolling out their stuff, and it's important that you have a platform that you can do your own stuff and monetize yourself. Some of the platforms that are out there, they will monetize your content, and they actually own your content unless you put it on your own WordPress blog. And so it's the blog is a huge thing for you to have. A help desk, as you see there, that's so if you are selling a product and you have some support, whether using overseas help to man the help desk or whatever it might be, to have a platform that's keeping track of tickets, that's a real big deal. And you just kind of go through this list. I mean, I could turn it back over to you, and you just kind of go, all of this under one place. It feels like the digital marketing world of Zoho, where that's running your tangible business that has all this other stuff going on. This is your online business and everything related to it under one roof. Not all prime time yet, not all released, but I believe that when they go to the monthly, I believe that their monthly is going to be the $299 instead of the $1,400.
Okay.
And that's why it was like, hey, it's such a low risk, because I'm already paying for multiple of those softwares right now on other platforms. Some of them we've already started to shift. We dropped our Shopify. We moved over. Mm-hmm. And we'll continue to move more things over as we know that we have time, and that they're ready for prime time and they have everything that we want. But it was such a screaming deal that I can divide $1,400 by $300 a month really quickly and go,
Absolutely.
If I'm the guy who's going to pay for the year of software in advance versus monthly to save 15, 20%, whatever it might be, this is a no-brainer, because you're telling me my monthly that I'm spending on websites can go away. I mean, it's painful, yes, to move my WordPress sites onto a new platform and build it with a different builder, but the payoff down the road may make a ton of sense. So I like the fact, from a confidence standpoint, one of the things I forgot to touch was the fact that there is that pay monthly model coming really made me happy. And that there are some upgrades that you need if you do a ton of video volume. That stuff, it's hosting, it's traffic, it comes with costs for them as a business. So if they were just like, hey, everything's free, everyone, it's like, we're going to pay for your college, it's all free, you kind of go, what's the catch? So there is a catch, and the good news is there is a monthly coming that's going to keep their stream of revenue coming. And when you get into the shopping cart stuff, you understand that they are making money on the transactions. There is a regular flow of money. They are building with the long-term involved. It's not going to stop development. That was a big deal for me, because like I said, we've been down that road, and we don't want to end up with software that's obsolete, that you kind of go, I have to do this again. I got to move somewhere else. And one of the things that a lot of people that are in this world was that the guy that's in charge has rolled out several major platforms that are related to this business. One of them, the guy's name is Mike Filsaime. didn't know much of anything about him prior. But if you do searches on him, for the most part, you get very good vibes that this is a quality person. Launched Kartra, which is another one of the big affiliate type of systems that are out there that can also do your version of funnels and things like that.
Right.
But he also launched a couple of the major video hosting and webinar hosting sites like Webinar Jam. There's another one that he did as well. And so you kind of go, this is a guy that's already successfully launched the stuff, made it profitable, and had his own exit strategy. And now he's the chief of this one, kind of going, we already know what you need. We've been doing it. We're in that business, but let's put it all under one roof. And that's the part that's exciting. So
absolutely. One of the questions might be, okay, if I go to that sounds great. But am I committed to being in that ecosystem exclusively? And it's absolutely not. You mentioned the ability to use like Zapier to be able to connect, because we know that the businesses are committed to other platforms for whatever reason. But you may just want to pick and choose. And again, you get that ability to do that. We've done that very, very thing, where we're still big believers in Zoho, and we got 4 or 5 other things that we really like. And you don't have.
Well, you can have a customer who just loves QuickBooks and says, I don't want to move to the Zoho's version of counting Zoho books. Can you connect them? Yes. And that's what the world of Zapier for, is you kind of go, hey, I have something I'm using right now. I'm so in bed with it. I've invested so much time becoming an expert. I don't want to invest the time becoming an expert in something else because there's a learning curve in everything.
Absolutely. Well, let me just show just a little bit of what our account looks like so you can get a feel from a functionality standpoint. Again, I don't want this to suffice as a tutorial, but you get an idea of the apps that are, even though they're kind of in beta, they're still fully functional and they work really, really well. And then they give you an idea of what's coming down the road. Of some of the lists we saw there. Again, my understanding is you've got access, depending on what level you come in at, you get all of those as they come online and your price doesn't change. But they've got a pretty intuitive interface to let you get around. I would say 90% of our work that we've been doing recently has been in Pages, GrooveSell, and probably in GrooveCart. Let me just show you real quick one of our sites that we just switched over and completed in GrooveCart, so you can kind of see the scope and the quality of it that we were able to accomplish. And I did it in a very, very short time. I want to say, in just a matter of a couple of days, we were able to be up and running, and it really ran really, really well. I've added some video to it that's but I mean, it gives you the ability to really do just about anything you've seen out there. I don't know if that's playing, but let me go ahead and kill that in case it's loud. Yeah. You can, crazy video. Anyway, this is one of our clients that is working in the TikTok arena with branded apparel to some of the influencers. A great business model, and but we were able to build this site pretty quickly, and it has all the bells and whistles that you would expect from a solid shopping cart system, Shopify and the like. And so being able to connect it to the major shopping cart merchant accounts and whatnot, that's not a problem. They also have their own, but they've also got a few other things, that if you want to kind of make it a little funnel like you can, upsells, the ability to chat when people are online, but it's really solid. Like I said, it performs really well, and I've been very, very happy with it. So just a quick look at how you can control some of that. That's the GrooveCart down here, and you're able to. It does have some functionality from an import standpoint. Makes it pretty easy to clone products and so forth, and have multiple stores. Again, the free level, I want to say, only gives you one store, but if you go ahead and purchase, I think you can get unlimited stores, which is just insane. So I'll go ahead and click into the back office and let you take just a little peek behind it to see how the interface works and how it's pretty easy to get around and get things done. I found overall it to be very responsive and nimble. Right now I'm on my MacBook Pro, and so my graphics card doesn't run real fast. But Steve, you've accessed it on a pretty basic PC, and it's been pretty fast for you, if I recall.
Yeah, there's no problem with loading whatsoever.
Been very nimble, and it seems
And
to
it was intuitive, and it felt very similar to the building block type of softwares we've already been using to build websites, right? That's the big thing, is there's not much of a learning curve because it's already familiar with what you've been doing for the most part.
absolutely. And I would say the best way to show that off is probably in the Groove pages. And what they've done is, and I think this is smart, is to keep a very common structure and interface so that you know where you are and you know how to get around to do different things. But I can just quickly here click on a new site and show you how quickly you can be up and running. So if you've had any experience with a Wix or trying to think of some other sites that kind of, WordPress, you're having to deal with plugins, and that's been one of the bane of my existence as a web developer, because on the one hand, you've got a lot of different companies providing these plugins, but you're constantly having to battle updates and plugins that are not compatible and viruses and stuff. And so when you have a more closed ecosystem like that, it's almost non-existent. And so I'm a big believer in that. But you can see already how many templates that are available and that are really solid for different purposes, whether it's just a basic funnel or it's a full-blown design. And so pretty quickly you can go in and find a business that you're interested in and be up and going really quickly. So I mean, it's just a matter of picking it, and it'll load it. You just name it and get right in there and start changing things. So let me show you. I want to show you just some of the editing tools. And again, it's very easy if you're not a programmer, but if you do have access to a programmer, you can add code and add HTML and stuff like that. So I mainly just want to show you some of the tools that it has to be able to build pretty quickly and pull from some of what they call elements. So when you come over here, you get building blocks, and it expands, and so you get all the different blocks that are ready made, whether it's, so I'm going to click on all blocks here, and then it'll expand and it'll show you all the different, what they would call a block. By the way, this is responsive, which is make that that has to be a requirement for any platform you go with. As we're getting more into we need to be designing for mobile first and then designing for PC secondarily. I would highly recommend that as you go forward. But it's a matter of just click and it drops it right in place. It also gives it to you in a wireframe version. So if you want to build them on your own, or if you want to use the content that they already have, it works out great. Headers, features, videos, drag and drop. I mean, if you can see it and you can build it yourself, or you can have the pre-built ones. So and this is a format that carries over in a lot of different things, whether it's a blog or a membership page. And so you've got a lot of these different widgets, if you will, that make it very, very easy to go in and modify things. So if you've already put one in there, you bring it over. If you're used to any of this kind of thing, you get a dialog box, and so you get the ability to customize the fonts and the size and the animation and on and on. So on the one hand, it's very, very easy to get in and work on things. But like anything, the more control you want, you kind of got to know what you're doing. And so I've been very impressed that there's been a large volume of videos, how-to videos. I tend to learn better that way. And also our contractors and our employees, we're able to teach them quicker how to get around, because we can bring them up to speed quicker watching videos. And again, regular videos for training and that kind of thing. So that just gives you a little idea of how the basis of Groove Pages works. And again, that's in their nomenclature, that would be websites. So Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you go ahead and spend what'd you say it was the $1,400 lifetime? I mean, you're talking
right
as many websites as you could possibly imagine. So if you're wanting to get in a business of offering them, one of the questions might be, can I build these websites and then charge my customers for them? That's absolutely true. You can go in and set up custom URLs and point them. And so then you've got all the integration of, mail and affiliate programs and video and the whole 9 yards. So that's,
I put on my share screen. If you pull up on mine, I've got the pricing currently that they've got.
Okay, great.
Now, what you'll see on that is you've got your free version, what it comes with, a silver and a gold package. And then I highlighted up top, a platinum is coming at a later stage. And what you see on the bottom of the gold package is a few things that are showing as not included. And so that's where I believe they were talking about either the $299 or $399 price point that's going to have everything. But that one-time price that we had included basically their platinum. So we have the full board. So if you do see that promo still available, absolutely recommend jumping on it. I really feel like the risk is so low that you're going to get a return on your money that even if you just use it for web hosting, the fact that you're never going to be paying for web hosting again, it's a really big deal. So
yeah, and again, we highly recommend. We've got the link there for you to get it. We've also got it in the description notes there, and we highly recommend and ask that you click on our link there. That'd be a great for us for the time put in to share this with you. And again, with ETW, that's what we want to do. We want to freely share this information that we've learned. We truly believe that sharing that information is where the power is, and building a community is what our goal is. And so we're not looking at all this like, oh, it's our stuff, and we don't want to give away our secrets. We want to freely share what we've learned with our community. So we're looking forward to that greatly. Steve, anything more you want to say about Groove before we get to our weekly recommends and start to wrap up?
I would say in the same way that we're sharing some of these things, we've experienced the same thing with other vendors doing their videos and sharing things with us to go, so nice to hear from someone that you feel like is a trustworthy, experienced source that you can relate with, to go, that guy's shooting me straight. And I appreciate that, because that saved me a lot of time and potentially a lot of headache, because I've gotten really close to buying some softwares, and then I read one review or go through it, you just kind of go, oh, I'm so glad I didn't fall for the sales pitch. So yeah, with that, let's go into
one thing that popped in my head. Any negative or anything bug you about the Groove experience so far? Like I said, I've been happy with performance. I've been happy with response. They've got a guy that does weekly training that does a really great job every week. I'm been glad with that, and the community's been pretty helpful. I would say they move 100 miles an hour. I don't know how they keep that pace they're growing at, and I get a little confused sometimes with the overlap. At least I was initially with, okay, when to use Groove Cart versus when to use Groove Sell versus Funnel versus, it can be a benefit. I think those that are big cheerleaders for, say, ClickFunnels, it's just ClickFunnels. It is just ClickFunnels, and that's the ecosystem, and that's all they do.
Yeah, drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Well, let's be honest about it. What's driving a lot of this is the money side of things. So on that sheet that I showed, if we were to, we can pull that back up. Let me go back and share that again, just because I think it's worth showing in the interest of full disclosure. So at the very bottom of this, are you able to zoom in on that by any chance?
I can go. And at this point, you're going to have to enlarge your screen.
Okay, let me. There we go. Okay, so at the very bottom here, what you see is an affiliate program percentage of 20%, and the one-time deal was 40%. ClickFunnels is at 40%. So what that has to do with is if someone signs up using your link, and I'm going to take a sidebar for a second. There's times that I will look at links and go, is this an affiliate link? Am I going to click it? I'm just going to go to the URL directly, and I'm not letting this person give credit. I'm over that. The bottom line is, if I really like the content that someone's putting out and I find it helpful, by all means, it doesn't cost me any more. Why not give a fellow marketer a chance to earn a little bit of money for taking the time to make good content? So if you were to click that link of ours, we're an affiliate, we would get paid a commission. So part of the benefit of signing up for that one time was it was a 40%. ClickFunnels is at 40%. And there are guys out that are making $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 a month because they found a niche and they dominated making funnels. And the cool thing was, if you make a funnel that's really good for the real estate industry, and there's a guy that does a lot of videos that was his niche, was he then specifically marketed to real estate agents and sent them his funnel. And if they use his funnel, suddenly he gets credit for all of their accounts, it's genius. It's a great model. ClickFunnels is a limited platform, and then it doesn't do all the other things that this does, but it's so knowing that these guys are marketers at heart, your original question was there anything that was kind of a turnoff? And I would say the fact that they're marketers at heart, because when you first sign up, you end up getting a bunch of emails of like, not only will you get this, but you're going to get access to this, this, and this too. And it was like, so you suddenly get bombarded with some emails with a few additional platforms that are not related, but have signed on to say, basically, we're going to give you a silver or a gold version because you signed up here. And with the goal that hopefully you're going to like it, you're going to sign up for the platinum version. We can only digest so many platforms at once, and this one is perfect for what we need. So we didn't really need to dive into the other ones so much yet. But there is one of them that was fantastic, the Chatmatic that we got referred to, that we'll do a future thing on, that we're pretty hot about. So I would say that part initially was a little bit of and I understood the model of we're in beta. Not everything is it's not a completed product yet. So you're going to have some limitations. Work with us, give us your feedback, help us make this better. I like that. I like the fact that they've got a very active Facebook community. So there's people on there literally offering help, and have experienced the same limitations you have and already have the workaround or how to fix it. And it's an amazing community of people that are very helpful.
And it's been upfront. There's never been any kind of hidden agenda, bait and switch. And so my last comment would be, from somebody that spent the last 25 years building websites and doing, these type of products. I give it thumbs. It delivers on the promise. Not perfect, but it is, headed toward, being right up there with the best in category, and enough to where we are using it for our business. We've got several businesses on the platform, and it's been performing. All I can say is thumbs up. It has delivered on the promise. So,
and I'm happy waiting for release of some of the things that we're going to be doing as business until their platform is ready, versus invest in another platform and duplicate the price. It just doesn't make sense. I'm actually happy to wait, because what they have done is good enough that you're kind of going, okay. Once you use it and you see the quality, support, and backup and how everything works, it gives you confidence that what's coming is going to be fantastic.
And at that price point and having that kind of, it's like having just a massive tool box. I just feel like I've always wanted one of those massive red and black toolboxes with a million tools in it.
Right.
And so if you're like us at all and you get a harebrained idea, it's so easy to just go, I want to go try this. I want to go, on the weekend and create something and see if it sticks. And
if you're a handy guy, you go into Home Depot and you're like, this is my toy store. It's like, for digital marketer,
my wife
to build to walk into this is like, or if it's Hobby Lobby, if you're crafts or something like that, right? Where you just kind of go, for a digital marketer, you just kind of go, say what?
Absolutely. All right, well that's Groove Funnels and Groove Digital, and way to go, guys. Y'all are doing a great job, and we want to encourage you guys to continue on. We're looking forward to seeing what things y'all create and what you guys can create with it. So with that being said, let's transition just a little bit and start to wind down with our weekly recommends. We like to bring something to the table. It can be from pretty much anywhere. So Steve, why don't you start us off with what you want to share with the group?
I was going to let you go first.
Well, I don't have it pulled up. I tell you what I'm going to do. Everybody knows what Netflix is. Everyone knows how to get to Netflix. Everybody probably has Netflix. I want to recommend a documentary that many of you probably have seen. But if you haven't, and you are in this world, you plan to be in this world a little bit longer, and you have any interaction with the human race, especially as an entrepreneur, you need to watch The Social Dilemma. You need to be aware if social media is not your thing, if you've been living under a rock. And I am certainly not going to say that social media is the greatest thing that mankind has brought onto the planet. But I'm also not going to say it's the worst and most evil. It's like anything. It's a tool that I think has been used very, very poorly as of late. But you cannot deny the power, the sheer power. And seeing this documentary, I think, will open your eyes and see it in a different light. Obviously, there are different platforms that attract different audiences. But to understand the literal social ramifications of social media and how it changes both the demographics, but not only the psychographics of the people that you're trying to sell to and the people you're trying to grow your own audience. I highly recommend The Social Dilemma on Netflix.
Fantastic. The one I'm going to recommend actually is one of the video explainer softwares. I'm going to go ahead and do my share screen again here for you.
Yep.
And we had mentioned it previously, which was Toonly. And Toonly is just a super easy to use drag and drop platform that allows you to create explainer videos. And it is actually a ton of fun. And my fiance, I had a project for a customer that we needed an explainer video for a step-by-step process for doing a customer site survey. And I tell you what, I was so jealous watching her come up with this stuff. And the reality is she probably did better than I did, but she got very creative. She was doing sound effects and the in and out movement and stuff like that. And I was like,
but she's not a graphic designer, and nor is she an animator.
She's never done any video editing before. And she made stuff that I was so proud of to sell to my customer. And the reality was I didn't have time. And this platform literally makes you look like a pro. And it would pay for itself selling one video probably. So it's one of those ones that we did get on a one-time deal. If you look on Facebook, I would do a search for Toonly one-time offer. You'll probably be able to find a code there somewhere versus pay for the monthly. And it's one of the platforms I would recommend. Getting your video, your message across in video format is just very effective. And this is one of the easiest ones. And even though I did the one-time purchase on this, it was a Facebook promotion. I can tell you that Brixen, this is Toonly by Brixen, these guys are committed to constant development. They also own Doodly, and they've got some other stuff that they work on as well. But I've been very, very impressed with their work, their platform, and their constant updates. So every month you're getting new characters, new items, new backgrounds, new features, new stuff that you just kind of go. It just makes you better and better at what you're doing. And it's a very competitive business. But they have their monthly customers, and then they've got their one-time customers that take advantage of the promos when they come up. So if you can grab it, I highly recommend it, because getting your message out and presenting certain things, man, the video, it's a great tool.
Awesome. Sounds great. Fantastic. So Toonly, I'll try to also put a link in the show notes as well if you want to find it there and you don't want to go dig for it. Stephen, always great to chat with you. Looking forward to another week. Next week, I would tease what we're going to do next week, but I want to keep it a surprise. So hopefully,
we're so excited.
Check our Facebook. Please go and like our Facebook page. We just got it started. It's brand new. And our YouTube channel. We're doing this for you guys, and so we cannot wait to start getting feedback and getting questions from you guys. You can send it to info@ETW Creations if you want to communicate with us, or maybe give us a suggestion of something to cover. We're happy to dive into that. So, Steve, you got any parting shots? Anything deep and philosophical that you can give a country that has probably taken 4 steps backwards?
I would just say this is such a unique time in history, and it's with that is going to come a lot of opportunity. And I think that if you have, whether you have a doomsday prediction or one of prosperity, I think there's a window of opportunity that exists right now that is so unique that you just absolutely, it's worth taking the chance to go full bore using tools like this to control your own future. And, with the pandemic, some believe that this is just pandemic 1.0, that maybe there's more coming. And if that's true, how do you survive in that world? And I think that when you can choose to chart your own course and have a little more control over that, there's a lot of peace of mind that comes with that. So I highly recommend people research those tools, and hopefully some of the feedback we provide will help them narrow down their search a little bit to kind of go, okay, I get what you're saying. This is a tool I can learn. A newbie can literally use Groove and learn how to build a very good looking website, a shopping cart, a blog, all those things that go with it. And you kind of go with watching, and they have so many videos that are out there for content and training. There's just really no excuse.
Absolutely.
Everything is at your fingertips if you're willing to put in a little bit of work. So I would say just don't delay, jump on it, get signed up, get a free account, take that link, get a free account, and test it out, and when you're ready, the paid version is always going to be there.
I would say also, if you have any other specific questions we didn't address about it, I'm happy to share from my experiences. If I can't find the answer, maybe point you in the right direction. So if you want to dive in, but you want to know somebody, you need a guy. We'll always try to be a guy if we can for you guys. My parting thought might be a little more philosophical. With all the upheaval and the division, I would say start with yourself. Change starts with me. And I've made that a commitment for the new year to make every commitment I can to build a bridge and figure out what we have in common. And so I think that is a lot like the DNA of what we're trying to do with East to West, and that's building bridges. The sun never sets on opportunity, nor does it set on opportunities to make a connection, both for business purposes and for friendship. And so I think if you start with trying to help somebody get to where they want to go, 9 times out of 10 that can come back. And I think that's the beginning of making progress, whether it's a nation, a business, or just a friendship. So Lord knows we need more of that, right?
Absolutely.
All right, buddy. Well, how do you say goodbye in Filipino?
I'm gonna stick with goodbye in English.
Well, you got, huh?
So it's so easy to get spoiled here that most people do speak English. They actually typically learn 3 languages growing up. Their national language of Tagalog or Filipino, English, and then also a local dialect. So a lot of these guys grow up. It's standard to speak 3 languages, and they learn more sometimes. So I get very spoiled that everyone basically speaks English.
Well, there you go. You're also spoiled because you're a Laker fan, but that's a whole nother subject. We won't go there. Take care, my friend. I will catch you this time next week.
Sounds like a plan. Thanks,
everybody.
All right, bye.